Welcome back to the channel, my friend. And this is the Restoring Dharma series, where we aim to restore truth, harmony, and true spirituality in the land of earth that we live in. You see, I believe that in the modern world, we are spiritually cooked, bro. We're spiritually cooked. In the West, we have these Western religions that for the past 2,000 years have dominated the Western mind. And I personally believe that they no longer serve humanity in the same way that maybe they once did, and they're only holding us back. And on the other hand, in the Eastern lands, the original teachings of the Sanatana Dharma has been completely lost. And honestly, it's really sad to see the state of the world there too. So in these series, my aim is to help restore Dharma. And what is Dharma? Dharma is the natural way of the cosmos. Okay? And so this is the second video of this series, and I'm really excited for this one, man. It's gonna be a really juicy one. So just, get comfy, relax, grab a cup of tea or something, and let your boy speak, okay? But before we get into it, I wanna do a little recap of the first video. I highly recommend you watch that entire video first before watching this one. It's gonna make a lot more sense. But I'll give a quick recap and then we'll jump right into the meat of it. Okay? So in the first video, I kind of showed the comparison between the Western Abrahamic traditional religious thought of how our relationship to God is versus the Sanatana Dharma, or the cosmic masterpiece perspective of how we relate to the whole and the cosmic harmony. Okay? So in the Western Abrahamic thought, traditionally, right, we as humans, we are born down here in creation. God is up there somewhere in heaven, right? And we are just created here, and the whole purpose of our life is to be good people. You see, there's a moralistic framework there. And so that when you die and you are judged, you either go to heaven where you enjoy gardens forever, or you go and burn in a pit of fire forever. Okay? And we talked about, what are the issues with this? Firstly, that it's a dualistic perspective, right? You have God all the way up here, and then you have creation all the way down here. So it creates this separation between one and God. Secondly, it teaches a conditional love, and it normalizes negative emotions. Negative emotions like fear, guilt, shame, judgment. These emotions that should not be normal. They're not normal. Okay, if you experience these emotions often, that's a sign that you're actually out of alignment and out of harmony with God. Okay, but this framework actually normalizes it and uses it to keep people trapped in it, right? And this goes into the next point. This framework of religion was created during an age of empires, right? The past 2,000 years, an age where these empires were growing really, really fast, and they needed a way to control the people, to keep people under one umbrella. And how did they do that? By implanting a fear-based system into the mind so that everyone polices themselves, so they don't have to create a massive surveillance system. It's like you inject everyone with a vaccine and you mind control them, and that way everyone becomes good. And fear is at the core of their nervous system. And if you try to go against it, you're killed. Okay? This is where this idea of God came into fruition. Before that, for tens and tens of thousands of years of humanity, this didn't exist. Right? And then finally, it has a moralistic framework, right? It's about being good or bad. It's about being right or wrong. And it's all of that is just, it's very human-centric. You see, it's very human-centric. The whole idea is every person is looking out for their own salvation. It doesn't teach that, no, you are part of a massive cosmic dance. As you see the planets and everything moves in an order. All the cells in your body, they move in an order. They all have a purpose. Here it doesn't teach you that. It just teaches that you have to be good or bad. Are you good or are you bad? Are you right or are you wrong? It's like a very moralistic. So it's very human-centric, and it makes a human very only thinking about themselves to the point where they're not thinking about how they fit in the entire dance of the cosmos. Okay? So then we move over, we talk about this framework, the Sanatana Dharma, the cosmic masterpiece, as I called it, right? And in this framework, you have God, which is this whole circle, also referred to as the self or the one. It doesn't matter what you call God. It really doesn't. You can call it the self, you can call it the one, whatever resonates with you. You can give it a name, right? And so here there's a oneness, right? It's all one. And then from the one emerges other selves. It emerges from within the one. Okay? So the same spirit, the same essence of the one is preserved in each self that emerges from it. Okay? And so we were saying God is in everything and everything is in God. Okay? And you can say the spirit of God, you can say whatever you want to call it. Okay? In other words, God is in you and you are in God. Or the self is in you and you are in the self. Okay? See how it's extremely intimate. It's a really close relationship, as opposed to this one where you have this distance, right? Like God's all the way over there. It's like, no. And I gave the analogy of the body, right? Imagine a universe where I am God, right? And I have all these cells that make me up, right? I have my heart cells, my brain cells, my skin cells, etc. And let's say I take one of my skin cells. I can say I am in the skin cell, and the skin cell is in me, right? Or you could say my spirit is in the skin cell's spirit, and the skin cell's spirit is in my spirit, if that makes more sense. Okay, it's like your spirit, your essence is already in union with the one, with the self, with God. Okay, and in this one, it's not like God created us and then it's like leave us to be. It's like, no, God created us and creates through us, right? So the field creates through its different manifestations, through its selves. So as we create, as we continue to contribute to the world in this beautiful land of earth, we are actually God creating through us. Okay? That is this paradigm. And you see, in this paradigm, it is not human-centric, right? It is cosmic-centric. And we talked about how each self has a different color, right? Has a different nature. And this is going to be the topic of today's video, by the way. We're going to get into it. All right? So the self will express itself in slightly different ways, in different colors, so to speak, right? If this is the cosmic symphony, right, then every self is a different key in the cosmic symphony. Shout out the philosopher, man. Okay? It's like these are different notes, different keys. And depending on the color of the self, it plays a different role in the cosmic masterpiece, right? So we gave the analogy of the cosmic organism, me here, where I'm God. And each of my cells, my brain cells, my heart cells, each of them plays a different role. And by each of them fulfilling their role or their dharma, the entire organism functions properly and as it should. Right? So then we moved on to say, okay, this is at the level of the self. What is a human being? What about the structure of a human being? And so we talked about how the human being is actually a threefold structure. Okay? Is a threefold structure. First, you have the spirit or yourself, or that aspect of God that is at the core of your very being. Yourself, right? Let's say we take this guy, he's blue, right? That is at the core of his being. Then you have your mind, right? You have your conscious mind, which is your awareness. You have your unconscious mind. And then you have your body, right? The one that you see in this material realm. But you are actually all three of them. All three of them. There's just three. It's three pieces. Okay? And so these are two different humans. You might have and then you might have the yellow guy here. Right? So we can see already this human has a different dharma, or what's technically a sva dharma, like a personal dharma, than the yellow guy, the yellow self, right? So the blue might be, in the analogy of the body, a heart cell, and this is a brain cell. Okay? So we then talked about how in this paradigm, God sends one single message for all of humanity. Everyone is to follow the same message, single file, right? But there's no room for this, just order. There's no room for chaos. You see, in the cosmos, there's a balance between order and chaos. This is what it is. Otherwise, things go rotten. They go stale. Right? So in this one, we say that God will send a different message to each human being. And how is this message spoken to each human being? It's through in the silence, in the intuition, in shedding away all knowledge and shedding away everything the world is putting on you and sitting with yourself. And then you will hear your true self, or that aspect of God, speaking to you directly. You don't have to listen to some other person who lived thousands of years ago to tell you what God told you. You can find God in the silence by yourself. He'll tell you, this is your dharma, or do this. This is your nature. And the dharma is the thing that comes most naturally and is the thing the person wants to do. It is their very nature. And this is going to make sense after today's video, I promise you. Okay, so each individual gets a different message, and your purpose is to just be your dharma, to fulfill your dharma. I say it's not very easy in the world today, and that's something we're going to get into in this series, right? This is where it requires faith and a trust, right? This is where true spirituality comes in, right? We talked about heaven and hell. What are heaven and hell here? They're places you go after you die. Here they are states of being. And in every moment, you are either in the garden of peace in heaven, or you're in the suffering of fire, the fire of suffering, whatever, right? You are either in one of these two states. And how is this defined here? Whether you are in alignment or out of alignment with your true nature. Okay? Something I didn't talk about was this idea of a judgment, right? In this paradigm, there's this idea of a judgment. You're going to be judged whether you were a good boy or bad boy. Here, think of a judgment as it's a personal self-assessment. That's all it is. It's the self, the God that's a part of you. You're assessing yourself. And what are you assessing yourself against? Not if you're good or bad, but did you fulfill your dharma or not? Did you fulfill the purpose you wanted to or not? Like, I imagine it's like, oh, you pass away, you pass to the other side, you wake up, this whole life, it feels like it was just a dream. And you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, I did that, but I was supposed to do that. And you're like, dang. It's like this, that's the feeling. You don't want to die and have that feeling. It's not about, that's the being in the fire. It's this feeling of I wish I contributed. And you're gonna say, I want to go back. Give me a new skin, give me a new body. I want to go back. That's the idea of samsara. Whereas on the other hand, if you constantly live your life and you're orienting yourself towards your dharma, you're staying on your dharma. In the Islamic culture, it's like you're staying on your deen. No, here, if you're staying on your dharma, you identify your dharma, which again, we're going to get into in the series. When you're staying on your dharma, you're at peace because you're like, I'm contributing to the whole in the way that I was designed to. And it's a service to the cosmos. It's a service to the world. It's not human-centric. And in that, you find that peace. And then when you pass away in a state of peace. And then you enter the garden forever or whatever, right? I don't know what happens, but at least you're at peace. That's the idea of a judgment. It's a self-assessment. It's a self-review, an honest self-review. That's all it is. Okay? And the way you serve God or serve the whole in this paradigm is simply by serving one's dharma. And again, it's not easy. It's not always easy, but that's where the true spirituality is. It's not a love and light spirituality. It requires a giving up of yourself, what you think you want, for what you're actually supposed to do. You are surrendering to your dharma. Okay? So that is a recap of the first video, man. And I recommend you watch it if you like this little recap. Okay? But now we're gonna get into the topic of today's video. Now, I'm excited for this one. All right, so I just cleaned up the board here. Now the topic of today's video is, where do these colors emerge from? Right? Like you're saying there's all these different colors. Why isn't it just one color? Why aren't these all just green? Where are these colors coming from? Okay? And so the topic of today's video is going to be called the 3 Gunas. Okay? Think of it like this. And there are 3 forces that act in all of the cosmos, in all levels of existence. There is an upward force. There's an upward force. Think of air, think of ether, and just a light energy. That is called sattva. Okay? So we're going to say sattva. Actually, let me put it here. Okay? Opposite to the sattva, there's another force. Okay? The other force is a downward force. It's a grounding energy. Think of the earth. Think of solids. It's a downward energy. Solidifies as opposed to the upward sattva, which is very light. It grounds. Okay? This is the downward energy. This is called tamas. Okay? And then finally, we have an outward force, a force of activity. Okay, think of fire. Think of a wildfire that's just wants to keep growing. It's an activity energy. Okay? This is it's called rajas. Okay? This is the force of activity. You can think of fire. Okay? So the combination of these 3 forces are just dancing around in here, right? They're just dancing around in this field. And then from them, as the selves emerge, they're gonna have a composite kind of nature of this, right? So let's say we have a self emerge here, boom. And then in this version, in this little area of the pie at that time, there was a split. There was like a natural split. It might be like 50% sattva, 35% rajas, and then 15% tamas, right? Boom. So that self will take on this pink, or let's think of it as red. Okay, we'll take on this red. The next one might have a different composition, right? It might be 60% tamas, and then 30% sattva, and then the last, whatever, you know what I'm saying. So if it's 60, 30, then the last one would be 10. So this drawing doesn't even match those numbers, but you get the point, bro. Blue, etc., etc. Okay? So this is how it works. This is how each of the selves gets a color. Now you may ask, okay, that's cool. How does this apply to humans, man? How does this apply to humans? Why do we even care? Because you are, your essence is one of these selves. You see? So if you think of this as a kind of a composite score, then you're gonna fall somewhere along this lines. Let me give you an example, okay? Actually, before we get into that, we're gonna split this up into quadrants, okay? So, little math thing here, you know. You got the different elements. Let me write this in red. So you have air, fire, ether. You know, down here you'll have water and earth. Okay? Right? And so if we take the example of, let's take an example of myself. I'm going to take the example of myself. I'm going to expose myself on this video, if anyone's even watching, bro. So every person, think of them as a pie chart, as I described there, right? 50% sattva, 35% rajas, 15% tamas. It's not a perfect science here. You know, it's about self-examination and understanding this. You know, I might be a little off here or there, but this is generally what I feel like my composition is. Okay? So, I'm gonna fall somewhere on this map, you see? If I'm 50% sattva and let's say 50% rajas, then I would fall right here on this air line. Right on the border. But because I have more some tamas, it's gonna bring me down slightly, right? So I'm gonna be right here. Your boy Ali's right here. So I fall in this quadrant. Someone else who, let's say, has 50% tamas, and they have 35%, let's say, rajas also, and 15% sattva, they're gonna fall somewhere over here, right? And like, so how do these, so now you might be asking, like, how do these elements manifest in human form? Like, how did I even derive this breakdown for myself? Okay, so the way that these elements essentially manifest in human form, you can think of sattva as an upward energy, as mind energy. Mind, mental, spirit. You're naturally more light. You're more in the mind. You are in the world of ideas more than you are in the ground, in the earth, right? So sattvic people are mind. In the mind. You can think if there's a person here, right? And then tamas is like how much how grounded are you? How grounded are you in the earth, right? Like Do you like to be like out in nature and working the land and doing things with your hands and actually feeling the world, right? This is tamas. So someone of that nature is more tamasic. And then rajas is an active energy. Essentially, how active are you? How fiery are you of a person, right? How fiery do you like activity? Do you like getting your body moving? Do you like to, convince people of ideas and you have this outward energy? Then that's your fire, that's your rajas. Okay, so that's how you can start to understand your composition. Okay, and so you can see it's a spectrum, right? So you can be anywhere along this, right? Everyone has different compositions, but we split it into 4 categories. Okay, let's give each of these categories a color. Let's say if you're here, you're blue. If you're here, you're red. If you're here, you're yellow. If you're here, you're green. This is how we start to get the colors. Remember how we had your color? You have a self. In the first episode we talked about this. This is how you get it. And this is yourself, the color of your very essence. Your body and your mind emerge from this color. This is what you are naturally want to do. So, this is where it gets fun. Now, each of these colors actually has a name. It has been categorized. So let's talk about it. This area over here of this map is what are the brahmin. If you're here, this is the kshatriya. Here, this is the vaishya. And down here is a shudra. So if you're aware of the caste system today, you'll recognize these names because these are the 4 castes. But unfortunately today, the system is completely degenerated. It's completely pathetic. People use it for their own ego. People are, it's used for classism, elitism. It's terrible. It is terrible. But you see, when you understand the original system, it's not about Brahmin is above kshatriya and above shudra. It's not about higher or lower. It's not about it like that in a hierarchy. It's not egocentric. It's about your energy. And both are equally important in the cosmic symphony. You see, the reason why we unconsciously, people will put the mind more higher than the earth is because we've rejected femininity. We've rejected the mother. We've rejected half of divinity. Everyone's just trying to go up to heaven, up to the Father, and they forgot about the Mother. It is so beautiful when you look around, you see the trees, the oceans, the dance of the birds, and that's all the Mother. It's really beautiful. So a shudra is one who is close to the earth and is the foundation, is the bedrock of humanity. Without the shudras, the whole thing falls apart. Without the vaishyas, the whole thing falls apart. Without kshatriyas, the whole thing falls apart. And without the brahmins, the whole thing falls apart. Equally so. It's not about higher or lower. It's not about better or worse. It's just different natures. It's just different natures, bro. You have a different nature. It's like we're on some Harry Potter game here. We're on Harry Potter, bro. It's like, for me, it's like, congratulations, you are a kshatriya. But what does that mean now? What does that mean? Oh, it's cool in just name, but it actually means something in spirit. It means I actually have to embody this. When I embody this is me, then I will find true fulfillment and purpose, and I will find the garden. Internally, I will find peace because this is what I was designed to do. And you see, because I'm up here, maybe closer to the air side, I am more mental. I'm not as maybe physical as someone who is a kshatriya over here. So for me, it's about expressing these ideas and teaching these ideas, but for me, because it means a lot, I feel a duty to restore dharma. You know, I feel this desire to lead in this regard. Up here, the priest or the brahmin, we'll get into this more in the next video because this one's getting long. But the roles in society that each person is supposed to play for the whole symphony to flow together perfectly. Perfectly. Okay? And so here's the thing, right? So your spirit race is different from your blood race, right? So every single human being, it doesn't matter where you are from in the world, it doesn't matter what your religion you identify with, right? Your body is your blood, your mind is your religion or whatever. But deeper than all of that is your spirit. And your spirit is comprised of these three components, the sattva, rajas, and tamas. So you, every human being, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you're from, you fall somewhere in this map. You are one of these, your spirit race is one of these four categories. You see, I have a blood race of being Egyptian, but I have a spirit race of being a kshatriya. And it's more important that I embody kshatriya than to embody Egyptian or whatever, right? Because this is what's actually going to bring me fulfillment. And so you look around the whole world, look around everyone from all over the globe, and you can have people of the same spirit race as you from all around the world. And then you can look at other spirit races and understand that we are all, having different roles, playing different keys in the cosmic symphony, man. Shout out the philosopher. And there's this beauty to it. You can look into the eyes of someone from a land that you never even freaking been to, bro. And see something in common. It's like, bro, we're both kshatriyas. Or, oh, bro, we're both shudras, man. We're both vaishyas. And then there's a respect. There's a respect to each other as brothers and sisters. Right? And so to end this one, I know this one is getting long, so I'm just gonna end it here, and we'll continue in the next one. But now what we can do is we can kind of upgrade. We're gonna upgrade this into a cosmic or a composite human organism. Okay. Yo, bro, my drawing is really bad. It's not dharmic for me, man. So I'm gonna do the best I can here. Oh my God, bro. Someone save me, man. Yo, this is not dharmic for me, bro. Bro, this is not dharmic for me. This is the composite human. But what we can do now, and what we'll be talking about in the next episode, is how each of these colors or these what's called Varna, that's what color is in Sanskrit, is Varna. So by knowing your Varna, you can start to understand what your dharma is. And each of these is associated with a different part of the body. Okay? So you start to get a sense of what your role, and each of these is going to be, have a set of roles or duties or things that like will align with you once you understand your Varna. And again, don't think of it as up is better than lower. No. Maybe you enjoy out and camping and farming and you like being on the earth. Then you're down here, man. You're a vaishya or you're a shudra, and that's amazing. It's beautiful. But you see, the problem today is everyone's out of alignment. You see, I have a kshatriya spirit. I've been working vaishya, living as a vaishya, and I'm wondering why I'm in that fire of suffering. Right? Like the humanity composite man is like the cosmic organism that we were created, bro. He's in the ICU. I told you, he's in the ICU, man. Because everyone's in screwed up places. You have vaishyas over here, you have brahmins down here, you have this guy over here, you have this guy. The guy doesn't, bro. This guy, like, that's why everything's screwed up. That's why we're cooked. Okay? So yeah, in the next episode, we'll get deeper into it, man. We'll get deeper into it because, there's, I screwed this up here. But there's also like correct ways to embody, and there's also like the incorrect way or the adharmic way to embody some of these, right? Like a vaishya is a merchant, one who is supposed to generate his sustenance, sustains the society with the value they're able to create through their innovations and their ability to trade, etc. But if they become too greedy, and they don't actually share the money to maybe the brahmins or kshatriyas who aren't making their own income in a direct sense, then what happens is the energy of the organism gets clogged up in the digestive area. You start getting, like, this is where we are today, bro. We have like stage 4 fucking intestinal cancer. That's where we're at. All the vaishyas are ruling the world and they're very greedy, right? Anyways, man, I hope this was a good one. This has been fun for me. I'm gonna start building on this in the next one. If you enjoy this, please support your boy, subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.